Hey everybody, welcome back. Um, I got a little bit of news I want to tell everybody, and then I'm gonna do a little short video. I uh, I just want to say for those of you out there, if you want to do something free to help out, you can hit that subscribe button. You can hit that like button. That would help out a lot. Uh, I'm gonna basically be doing these videos basically until the end. My life's about to change. Don't know when, but it's coming. Um, I got some health issues. I am pretty sure I was drugged or poisoned for being a whistleblower at General Motors. And that's pretty much when I died. Uh, this really hasn't been a life. And I had a family member that offered to take me in. And and I figured, well, because they had some health issues different than mine. And there's where I think natural, mine weren't caused by being drugged or poisoned, I think. And they were just diagnosed with cancer, and it's inoperable. And I have a place to live. I have food, pretty much until she dies. And and don't there isn't really anything you can do. So I'm not asking for anything. I don't have a PayPal here. I'm not set up for membership. I just want to put some stuff out as long as I'm able, and then I'll be homeless or whatever after that. And I'm not looking for anything. Uh, it is what it is. But whatever happens, I understand. I died back when my health went bad. Wasn't able to work or anything else. Anything that comes when I'm homeless, whatever. It's just putting me out of my misery. It's not. It's not like the tragic things already happened. I just want to say, um, some of it started out. You had all these girls that were, and it's a union shop. Union's supposed to, the seniority thing is supposed to matter, and these girls had these jobs that they didn't deserve. And in fact, at one point, from what I was hearing, um, there were people that were bidding on jobs and they couldn't get moved to their jobs because these girls were camped out. I didn't see one of them that wasn't young and attractive. And when this finally got erupted, it really seemed to me that the assistant manager or the assistant plant manager, the assistant plant manager, he got shoved out the back door like in the middle of the night. One day he was there, the next day he was gone. His email was no longer in the system, and I, it is what it is, and but these guys couldn't get moved to their jobs. And then when this blew up, they put these girls on the jobs they belonged on, and a lot of them quit the first day. At least that's what I heard from one of the other temps. She came up and let me know. She goes, well, yeah, they all got moved to, jobs more like what I have to cover as a temp. And she said some of them never came back from first break or lunch. They just left. And that kind of tells you what you need to know about that. The fact, and then they moved my boss, who she was given all this extra manpower to cross train people. Well, she was basically doing it so this one girl didn't, she did everything she could to either give this girl the job she wanted, or if they didn't have any, she got to sit around or go around and hand out paper. Well, then, shit blew up a couple months later because she was supposed to have all this cross training done, and she had pissed away all the extra manpower. Well, she got moved to another plant and she got moved out of management and engineering. So, basically they treated her, the same way the Catholic priest or the Catholic Church treated the priests that were diddling kids, just shuffled them around and kept them. As far as I know, the only one who was really fired was that assistant plant manager. There's way more to this story, and I got videos out on that. But yeah, I'm just gonna do what I can, and until the end. Hey, wish me luck. If I win the lottery or something like that, that might change things. But short of that, there's just no. I'm a bad investment. I'm not worth the effort. And now, having said that, the very short topic I want to talk about here is I've talked the other day about holding like Fox News and OAN and the right wing sphere responsible for the lies they told. If they can hold Alex Jones accountable for his lies, I mean, he didn't actually kill any of those kids, but if they can hold him accountable for lying about Sandy Hook, then it just doesn't seem like that big of a stretch to think that you should be able to hold Fox News, right wing politicians, and others accountable, responsible for the lies they told that caused January 6th. I don't think that, like Alex Jones here, he'd be another one. He's in on that. You should be able to charge them with the murder of that, like mentally deranged Air Force chick that crawled through the window and got shot in the head or whatever. All the cops that died, all the cops that were injured. You should be able to charge them for those deaths and for those attacks and put them in jail and take their money and send a message to the next shitbag, because we're already seeing Fox News is starting to lie in, at least in some of their shows, about the FBI raid on Mar-a-Lago. And I don't have a problem calling it a raid. It was a legal raid. If you want to call it a raid, it was a legal raid. And that's generally what happens when you've got people that are suspected of crimes and they're not cooperating. That's usually what happens when you have informants telling them, yeah, he's got the stuff in here. You need to come and get it. And we don't know everything they told, but from what I'm hearing is they found security footage. They seized that, and it showed that when they had been in touch with the people at the Mar-a-Lago, they just went in and started moving boxes out and moving other boxes in. And then after they came in and they thought it was over for the moment, then they would move those boxes back out, and then they would move the other boxes back in, and they could see that activity. And I don't know why we don't have an attorney general. I mean, this does not even seem like you should be thinking outside the box. Now, when you take Governor Abbott down in Texas, now the idea of charging him with human trafficking or kidnapping or, or trying to shut down government or whatever, that seems like you might be thinking outside the box a little bit, to think that you could maybe charge and convict him of that and put him in jail for it. That, I think, is thinking outside the box a little bit. But as far as going after these people in the same way that Alex Jones was gone after, that doesn't seem like that's thinking that far out of the box. And I just want to throw that out there. I mean, I don't know. I don't think Merrick Garland is a bad guy, and I think he has done some stuff pretty good. But and maybe he's working on this. And if he is, hey, I apologize. But it seems like after a year and a half, if he was really working on it, we'd have a case ready to go to trial. And you've got the Mueller report. That thing was shovel ready on day one. He hasn't done shit after a year and a half. There were 10 cases of obstruction. And somebody that worked for Mueller, Glenn Kirshner, he basically said that those things were written in a way where you could just copy and paste them into a grand jury indictment and send it. And you had all these cabinet members that worked for Trump. You had at least one or two of them. You had at least one that was, found guilty of contempt of court. You had criminal referrals on Trump's people from inspector generals that worked for Trump, that were picked by Trump. How bad do you got to fuck up for one of Trump's inspector generals to actually send a criminal referral? We had a criminal referral from a Republican controlled Senate, and I think members of Trump's family and other members that worked for him. And then you had them from the Democratic controlled Congress. And none of these were taken up. These things were all basically buried by Bill Barr. And I think they should view that as obstruction of justice. And I think they should be wondering why the U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia did not follow the law, which states when you have these criminal referrals from Congress, you shall, or it's not one that gives you any discretion. It's either shall or will or must put them before a grand jury, and this was not done. And I think if you start charging her with violating a law, I think you're going to find that that probably goes back up to like Bill Barr. Bill Barr was probably the one that sat on that. And then, I don't know because it happened under Barr, maybe, but I think they should be looking at, Merrick Garland. Why haven't you looked into this? This just looks like more of the cover up by Garland. And I don't know. But that's just my thought on that. I'm gonna do another video in a little bit. I really do. I'm not looking for anything. I just, if you want to help out the channel, because before I go, I'd like to get the message out on General Motors, because like I said, they killed me a couple years ago, and for the last 3 years, my health seems to be getting worse, not better. And I would just like to send a message out and maybe have people think about buying a different car. I've got there's some good people that work there, but to me, the union and GM should have done something to fix this. And I wasn't going to ask them for anything, but I put out videos. And some of them gotten quite a few views. I figured if they wanted to make this right, they would have done something. God knows, according to Facebook and other stuff, I've definitely had people from the UAW checking me out, because Facebook will tell you, there's little hints you get. Like when I had several UAW members, some of them from the international or regional union, they were showing up as suggested friends or somebody I might want to follow. That means they were sniffing around my page, and none of them wanted to make this right. Not one of them. And I do got to look, because like every now and then I'll get an email, something about my retirement, but every time I have trouble getting in there. But even if it's a retirement, I don't think that's going to cover my health costs. It's not going to cover what I should have been earning if I was healthy. Um, because I had grievances where, with what was going on, you had management people that were, basically blocking me from getting overtime. And I got at least one grievance settled for that. So we know, like my committee man, he goes, when he investigated, he goes, these grievances kind of write themselves when it's that fucking blatant. And I don't know if you'd be able to prove it, but the one management person, I had stayed over, and I was in the middle of rebuilding a car door. And the only reason I got to stay there is because they wanted at least one team leader from each end of the door line free. Well, as soon as Terrence found out, this is what I was told, as soon as Terrence found out I was staying over, he wanted me sent home. And the guy told him, he goes, well, you understand that if you send him home now, he's going to get paid for this. And you also understand he's the only one building that door out there. And we need that door in like 20, 30 minutes when it gets over to trim 4. And so then he kind of let me stay. But, when some of this stuff came out, and then they were able to investigate this, they're like, yeah, this one's going to be an easy one to win. And I got that grievance settled. I got some money for that. Well, I'm sorry, but that even if there is a retirement there now, I might be able to live. I don't know if it'll pay to keep the house up and everything else. But I don't know if I can get an apartment. I don't know if I can afford an apartment. But you know, I was planning on working until I could get full Social Security and taking some kind of a partial retirement after what happened, after what they did, after what they let happen, and then the consequences that came to me because they let this stuff go on for so long. It just doesn't seem right. I mean, it just really doesn't seem right. Also, everybody that was involved in it from the union side and the management, I'd really like to see them go to jail. That's another thing, that's never going to happen. These people, and that at least, if you want to help me out, um, if you guys want to help me out, if we can get enough pressure on this, maybe people will quit buying these cars, and it might force GM to do the right thing. I read there was something similar to this at Ford, and Ford just fired I mean, it just fucking cut the head off the snake. It fired the majority of the management, and I think a lot of this was maybe more the union side than management side, but management had to be going along with it on some level. And you could help out with that if we get, if we can get enough of an impact. Maybe GM will, after, forcefully have to go after these people. I think it's too late for me, but I'd really like to protect the next guy. I'd like to protect the next group from getting exploited like this. Wasn't I mean, some of the girls I think were more than happy to go along with it, but it's like, because they were getting a better job, and like a lot of them quit when they couldn't get that preferential treatment. They were just gone. And this just isn't right. And another thing would be is GM could maybe pull those plants out of these southern states where this stuff I think happens more than in the the good states, but in these right to work states, or where that attitude is there, I think this is more prevalent, and it'd be nice to see something done about it. Peace out and have a good day.